Your soul is screaming for focus, but your mind is drowning in noise. Every single day, your mind is a war zone, scrolling, comparing, doubting, burning hours on things that drain you while your dreams rot in the background. You're exhausted, overwhelmed, and terrified. What if this is all there is? But what if I told you there's a secret weapon forged 2,600 years to slay distraction, silence chaos, and make focus your superpower? Ancient Buddhist masters didn't have apps, yet they hacked the human mind to conquer suffering, build empires of inner peace, and live with razor-sharp purpose. Their secrets aren't locked in temples, they're here. In this video, you'll steal 6 forbidden lessons to shatter the chains of guilt and procrastination like a blacksmith melting iron. Rewire your brain to crave discipline, not dopamine. Unlock a focus so fierce you'll outwork anyone without burning out. But these aren't cute quotes. These are mind-altering truth, like the monk who stared into a waterfall for 9 years to master concentration, or the samurai who practiced one sword strike 10,000 times. This is about ruthless self-mastery. You'll discover the one phrase Buddha used to kill anxiety works in 10 seconds. Why suffering is your greatest teacher, and how to weaponize it. A deadly ritual to purge toxic habits for good. This isn't self-help, this is self-revolution. If you're ready to stop being a prisoner of your mind and become its master, don't blink. Your future self is watching. Will you let them down? Lesson 1. The Potter's Wheel of Karma. Life is like clay spinning on a potter's wheel, shapeless at first, but full of potential. You are the potter. Your hands, your choices, your actions, they shape the final form. But too often, people blame the spinning wheel of fate, luck, or circumstances beyond their control. They wait for life to mold itself, unaware that the real power has always been in their hands. In Buddhism, karma is not a mystical force of luck. It is intentional action, the energy you put into the world, and the way it ripples back to you. Every thought, every choice, every response is a brushstroke on the canvas of your destiny. Blaming others for your struggles is like letting someone else sculpt your clay. It strips you of your power, but responsibility is not a burden, it is freedom. The moment you take full ownership of your life, you reclaim the ability to shape it. Buddha once said, "You are the heir to your actions. Whatever you sow, you reap." Let that sink in. Every challenge you face is a reflection of something you either created, allowed, or ignored. And this realization is not meant to shame you, it is meant to awaken you. Because if your past choices built today's reality, your present choices can build a new future. Imagine waking up every morning and declaring, "Today, I create my reality." How would that change the way you show up? Would you still let distractions pull you away from your goals? Would you still waste time waiting for someone else to fix things for you? And at night, before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I contribute to today's challenges? This practice isn't about guilt, it's about clarity. When you take radical ownership of your actions, you take radical control of your life. So ask yourself, what clay are you letting others mold for you? Are you shaping your life with intention, or are you allowing external forces, society, fear, opinions, to dictate its form? How different would your reality look if you owned 100% of your choices? The potter's wheel keeps spinning. The question is, will you take control and shape your life, or will you let the clay harden into something you never intended? 2. The bridge of right intention. Life is a bridge suspended over turbulent waters. On one side, uncertainty, regret, and stagnation. On the other, clarity, purpose, and fulfillment. The only way to cross is by laying down planks, each one a conscious goal, a step forward. But here's the truth. Most people never build their bridge. They stand at the edge, lost in vague wishes, waiting for direction to appear. But direction isn't found, it's created. Buddhism teaches the principle of right intention. It is the foundation of the Noble Eightfold Path, a guide to wise living. And at its core it says, clarity of purpose eliminates suffering. Think about that. Most pain in life doesn't come from failure. It comes from hesitation, from wandering without a map, from chasing what is not meant for you. The Buddha taught, a disciplined mind brings happiness. Because when your mind is undisciplined, your energy scatters. You chase distractions, compare yourself to others, and wonder why life feels directionless. But when your mind is focused, when you act with clear intention, you stop drifting and start building. Too many people set goals like fragile paper boats, vague, weak, easily sunk. They say, I want to be successful, but they never define what success means to them. They say, I want to be happy, but happiness isn't a destination, it's a result of how you live each day. This is why Buddhist wisdom urges specificity. Your goals must be the planks of your bridge, not just hopes, but solid steps forward. Instead of saying, I want to be healthier, declare, I am a person who nourishes my body and mind. Instead of saying, I want to start a business, affirm, I am a mindful entrepreneur, creating with purpose. When you write your goals as I am statements, you imprint them onto your subconscious. You don't just think about change, you become the change. Now ask yourself, is your bridge built on wishes or blueprints? Are your dreams structured with clear, actionable steps, or are they just vague desires floating in your mind? Because every day you hesitate, the bridge remains unfinished, and the waters of doubt rise higher. But here's the secret. The first plank is always the hardest. The moment you define your goal with clarity, you create momentum. So what would you dare to achieve if doubt vanished? Imagine standing on the other side of the bridge, looking back at the person you are today. Would that future self thank you for the decisions you made, the planks you laid, or would they still be waiting at the edge, lost in uncertainty? Focus on your path, build with intention, and step forward with purpose, one plank at a time. 3. The forge of self-mastery. Your mind is a forge, an ancient blacksmith's workshop where raw metal is shaped into something unbreakable. But here's the truth most people ignore. Fire is required. Without heat, iron stays weak. Without effort, potential remains untapped. And without discipline, the mind stays fragile, bending to every distraction, every impulse, every fleeting doubt. You are the blacksmith of your destiny. The question is, will you forge yourself into something strong or let yourself rust? Buddhist monks dedicate lifetimes to mastering the mind because they understand a simple truth. Growth is not optional. Stagnation is suffering. This is the essence of dukkha, the dissatisfaction that arises when we resist change, avoid challenge, and remain stuck in old patterns. And yet, so many people wait for life to improve while feeding their minds nothing but distractions. They upgrade their phones, their cars, their wardrobes, but never upgrade themselves. The Buddha once said, irrigators guide water, fletchers shape arrows, the wise master themselves. Think about that. Water doesn't find its way on its own, it is guided. Arrows don't fly true by accident, they are shaped. And the mind, it doesn't reach mastery through passive existence. It must be refined, sharpened, and disciplined. You either shape your mind, or the world will shape it for you. If you're always overwhelmed, distracted, or restless, the reason is simple. Your forge is cold. You aren't feeding the fire. Social media, mindless entertainment, and endless scrolling. They steal your focus, weaken your resolve, and leave your potential untouched. But what if, instead of giving your attention to things that drain you, you redirected it towards something that builds you? Imagine replacing just 15 minutes of social media with reading one Buddhist sutra each day. That's not just knowledge, it's transformation. In a year, your mind wouldn't just be informed, it would be trained, disciplined, and sharp like a blade forged in fire. Now ask yourself, what skill would change your life if mastered? Is it resilience, focus, emotional discipline? Imagine the version of you who has conquered that skill. The clarity in their eyes, the steadiness in their heart. That version of you isn't a fantasy. They are waiting on the other side of discipline. And here's the question you need to answer today. What if your next upgrade wasn't your phone, but your mind? What if, instead of chasing temporary distractions, you invested in your self-mastery? The fire is waiting. The forge is ready. The question is, will you step into the heat? The archer's discipline. An archer does not hit the target by chance. They stand firm. They align their stance. They steady their breath. And only then, with precision, do they release the arrow. Discipline is this stance. Focus is the arrow. And your goals. They are the target. But here's the truth. Most people never hit their mark. Not because they lack talent, not because they aren't capable, but because they never hold their stance long enough. They waver, they rush, they quit. Buddhism teaches the principle of ethical discipline. But discipline is not about restriction. It is about creating a framework strong enough to support your freedom. Imagine a river with no banks. It floods, directionless, destroying everything in its path. But when given structure, it flows with power, cutting through mountains. Your habits, your routines, your daily discipline, these are the banks that guide the river of your life. The Buddha once said, "Drop by drop, the water pot fills." Likewise, the wise accumulate goodness little by little. Think about that. Success, wisdom, focus. These are not built-in grand sweeping moments. They are the result of small, consistent actions, repeated until they become who you are. Yet, most people underestimate the power of tiny acts. They think 5 minutes of meditation too little to matter. They believe reading one page of wisdom daily won't change them. But just like a single drop of water seems insignificant, over time it fills the pot. Over time, it reshapes you. The mistake most people make is waiting for motivation. But motivation is like the wind, unreliable. Discipline is the archer's stance. It keeps you steady, even when the wind shifts. The secret? Attach new habits to existing routines. Don't just say, "I'll start meditating." Instead, link it to something you already do. Brush your teeth. Meditate for 5 minutes right after. Drink coffee. Write down 3 things you're grateful for before the first sip. When habits are anchored to something familiar, they become automatic. They become part of you. Now ask yourself, what daily arrow are you failing to release? What is the one small habit, the one drop of effort that could transform your life if repeated daily? Because no archer hits the target without practice. No river carves valleys without time, and no mind finds clarity without discipline. So, what's one habit that would revolutionize your year? Picture yourself a year from now, more focused, more disciplined, more in control. That version of you, they are built one drop at a time, one arrow at a time, one habit at a time. Will you take the shot? 5. The Riverbank of Equanimity. Life is a river, unpredictable and untamed. Some days the waters are calm, carrying you effortlessly forward. Other days they rage, pulling you under, dragging you into currents of stress, doubt, and frustration. Most people spend their lives fighting the current, exhausting themselves over things they cannot control. But true wisdom is not found in resisting the river. It is found in becoming the riverbank, steady, grounded, unshaken. Buddhism teaches equanimity, the art of balance. It is the ability to remain unmoved by external chaos because your foundation is within. This is where Buddhism meets Stoicism, where peace is not found in changing the world, but in anchoring yourself in what you control. The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Yet most people look for peace in all the wrong places. They try to control other people, obsess over the future, and agonize over the past. They fight against the river instead of standing firm on the bank. The truth is, there are only three things you can ever control: your breath, your effort, and your ethics. Everything else? It's just water. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control the storms of life, but you can control how you prepare for them. And yet, how often do we waste energy on things outside our reach? The opinions of strangers, the expectations of society, the mistakes of the past. But what if, instead of trying to control the uncontrollable, you mastered what was already within your grasp? Here's a simple practice. When stress rises, ask yourself, is this mine to solve? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, visualize placing it in the river and letting it drift away. Imagine watching your worries float downstream, dissolving into the flow. Because the more energy you waste on what you cannot change, the less power you have to shape what you can. So ask yourself, what river are you trying to swim against? Is it the need for validation, the fear of uncertainty, the desire to control outcomes that were never yours to dictate? Now, imagine how much energy you would reclaim if you simply let go, if you stopped fighting and instead stood firm. Because true focus is not just about where you direct your attention, it's about what you choose to release. The river will always move, the world will always change, but your power is not in stopping the current. It is in standing strong, grounded in what is truly yours. Will you keep struggling against the flow? Or will you become the riverbank, steady, unshaken, and free? 6. The phoenix of right view fire destroys, but it also creates. The forests that burn are the same ones that grow back stronger. The metals that melt in the forge are the same ones that... But Buddhism teaches right view. It is the ability to see clearly, to reframe suffering, to recognize that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that what breaks you is often what builds you. Think about your own life. The setbacks that felt like endings, the rejection, the failure, the moments of despair. What if they weren't punishments, but preparations? What if, instead of being buried, you were being planted? Every great transformation is preceded by a trial. The fire isn't there to destroy you, it's there to refine you. When life knocks you down, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "How is this happening for me?" This shift in perspective changes everything. The failed business, it forced you to innovate. The broken relationship, it taught you self-worth. The missed opportunity, it redirected you towards something greater. Every setback carries the seed of rebirth, if you choose to see it that way. Here's a simple practice. After every failure, write down one sentence. This happened for me because... fill in the blank. Maybe it's teaching you resilience. Maybe it's revealing a truth you ignored. Maybe it's clearing the path for something better. At first, your mind will resist because pain demands blame. But when you shift from victim to student, every loss becomes a lesson, every fire becomes fuel. So ask yourself, what fire are you avoiding that could rebirth you? What challenge, what risk, what difficult truth are you running from, when in reality it is the very thing that could transform you? because no phoenix rises without first facing the flames. No person grows without first facing struggle. The fire is inevitable. The question is, will you let it consume you, or will you let it refine you? Your greatest failures are not roadblocks, they are divine redirections. What if your worst moment was not the end, but the beginning? What if years from now you look back and realize this fire was the moment you were reborn? Will you fear the flames, or will you rise? Bonus lesson: the lighthouse of prioritization. A lighthouse does not chase after ships, it does not flicker with uncertainty, nor does it drift with the tides. It stands strong, unwavering, casting its light so that others may find their way. But most people are not like lighthouses. They get lost in the storm, pulled in by distractions, swayed by obligations, saying yes to everything, and then wondering why they feel lost. Focus is not just about what you choose to do, it's also about what you choose to ignore. Zen teaches Ichigo Zamai, the practice of total immersion in a single task. It is the discipline of doing one thing with full attention, not half-heartedly, not while multitasking, but with your entire presence. Yet, in today's world, people treat busyness as a badge of honor. They jump from one task to another, checking notifications, replying to messages, chasing the urgent while ignoring what truly matters. In doing so, they scatter their focus, weaken their will, and dilute their purpose. The Zen masters had a simple mantra: when walking, just walk. When eating, simply eat. It sounds obvious, but ask yourself, when was the last time you truly focused on doing only one thing? Every time you say yes to a distraction, you say no to mastery. Every moment spent on trivial things is a moment taken from your true purpose. The greatest minds in history didn't achieve success by doing more. They succeeded by doing less, but with greater focus and excellence. Bruce Lee once said, "I do not fear the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the one who has practiced a single kick 10,000 times." This is the essence of deep focus. Stop spreading your energy across meaningless pursuits and instead channel it into something that truly matters. Here's a simple technique. Use a distraction jar. Every time something pulls your attention away, a random thought, a notification, or the sudden urge to check emails, write it down and drop it in the jar. At the end of the day, go through the list. You'll realize that most distractions are just illusions, small ripples on the water that seemed urgent at the moment but meant nothing in the long run. This one habit alone can sharpen your focus and help you reclaim hours of your life. Now, ask yourself, what exactly is your lighthouse guiding others toward? Are you leading with clarity, or are you drifting, lost in a storm of distractions? Because here's the truth. Every time you chase what doesn't matter, you move further from what does. Every time you choose busyness over purpose, your true work remains unfinished. So what legacy fades each time you say yes to the insignificant? What masterpiece remains incomplete because your focus is stolen by noise? The world is full of distractions, but you are the lighthouse. Stand firm, shine your light, and guide your own life to shore. Now here's a quick summary of the 6 lessons. The potter's wheel of karma. Your choices shape your life. Stop blaming others. Own your actions like clay on a wheel. Shape your life with intention. The bridge of right intention. Vague goals lead nowhere. Write them as I am statements to align with your purpose. The forge of self-mastery. Strengthen your mind every day. Replace distractions with wisdom, for iron sharpens iron. The archer's discipline. Small habits, like a 5-minute meditation, build into unshakable focus. Consistency creates intensity. The riverbank of equanimity. Let chaos flow like water. Control only your effort, your ethics, and your energy. The phoenix of right view turns setbacks into wisdom. Suffering is not punishment, it is your teacher. You are not here just to survive the storm. You are here to dance in the rain, to find stillness in chaos, strength in surrender, and freedom through discipline. The Buddha taught that all that we are is the result of what we have thought. Every mindless scroll, every doubt, every "I'll start tomorrow" shapes your destiny. But today, you hold the pen. The Zen masters say, when you reach the top of the mountain, keep climbing. Focus isn't a destination, it's the art of falling in love with the climb. The world will try to drown you in noise, but your breath is your anchor. Your goals are your compass. Your mind, a garden only you can tend. So ask yourself, will you let life happen to you, or will you take charge and shape your own path? The way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. Buddha. A student once asked, "How do I find peace?" The master replied, "Stop losing yourself in what the world wants and start discovering what your soul truly needs." If this resonated with you, like, share, and type "yes" in the comments if you're ready to focus like a master. And join a community of seekers transforming chaos into clarity. Your journey starts now, but only if you choose to take the first step.